Yes.
Just two quick things. There were, in the early 70s, there were other original musicals that we should mention. One was by Michael Metz, sitting right there, which is Red, White, and Buckwall. The columns of Mark Buckwall's sense of music.
I'm going to have to say, right when I jump in there, that that idea was inspired by Dr. Murphy in a playwriting class that I had with him one-on-one. He's the one who encouraged me to write, and I want to shout him out for that inspiration. I have a 30-year career as a writer, creative director, and everything, and it's directly because of him. Thank you.
The other one was at midnight for the next generation to think about, which was Once Over Nightly by Sheldon Goldberg and Mike Sheehan. And then the other thing was that Diva was probably the last one written by Georgetown students. I think that's correct. Victoria was languishing at the Folger Theatre when we did that. Christian Hamilton married his leading lady.
Went on to have a Broadway showcase.
Went on to have a Broadway showcase, and Christian Hamilton married his leading lady.
Married Victoria.
Right.
Yeah,
and so then the rest of them were, not the student-written things, and I think the last senior prom was sort of a farewell to student-written Calliopes, because the others were gathered from various and sundry places. The next to the last three.
Yeah, it was also, yes.
I wanted to comment on the start of Calliope. 1959, my senior year, my roommate was the producer for the senior musical. It was an extremely elaborate production. It was getting out of control. Some of the chief participants were going to leave the show. It was a fantastic benefit performance. Leading socialites and political figures from Washington were invited. About 5 people showed up. I think Don decided that that was a little bit too much, and he had to do something about it. So I think Tom and I had something to do with the start of Calliope.
Were those shows done in Gaston Hall?
McDonough Gym, Gaston Hall, Trinity Theatre.
Okay.
All 3.
I think there was such a live musical. What's an interesting side note is that there are 2 shows that were written to audition for Calliope that were not chosen, at least 2 that I know of, that then went on to full productions at Georgetown. One was 571 BC, which was done for the 175th anniversary of the university, and the other was Gambit. And these were shows where people had written something and it wasn't selected, but there was such strength that those were done outside of it. So there was a real feel about writing musicals that was really very strong.
How many of the people here, raise your hand, were in a Calliope performed? All right. Okay. So you know what we're talking about here. Anybody have any audition stories that you want to share? No.
Yes, I have an audition story.
Okay.
My first audition was Frank Tobin. My first audition for Calliope was for If I Had a Yardstick, which was a fabulous score by Bryan Williams. And I had not auditioned in front of my peers. I just kind of showed up. And I'd been in high school musicals. And I sang a song that I sang in a high school musical from Oklahoma. And I forgot all the words. And Don just said, "Sing la la la." And I sang la la la. And for 4 years, I was embarrassed by my classmates because I went through the song, Everything's Up to Date in Oklahoma, or Everything's Up to Date in Kansas City, singing la la la. It was horrible.
Did you get cast?
In the chorus.
I have one.
Oh!
I think it's interesting that senior prom moved from Georgetown to become one of the longest runs in the history of Washington, because at that time, Arena Stage played for 6 weeks, the National Theatre played for 2 weeks, but I wonder how that happened. I actually got to appear in that, I believe, but who can talk about that?
Certainly did.
Yeah. But how did you make that happen?
Well, I was around Washington, and you got me a job directing the Democratic National Women variety show.
Oh dear.
Which I loved, yeah. With a particular challenge, so. But we had done senior prom, and I had the idea of doing it at 03. And these ladies, they get, each of them invested in the show like $100. But before you knew it, there was enough to do. The budget was about $600. So you were responsible for every production.
But that went on for a number of months, right?
And we had for almost a year.
All there 57 performances.
Who knows that?
Ellen and Dart.
Oh my God! Oh, you did every one of them.
Stage managed all 157 of them.
And Thursday through Sunday, so that's a longer run than...
I have a story about it. I was doing Godspell at the time at Ford's Theater, and I had designed the set for Senior Prom at O Street. And I arrived at the theater to check on the set to see if there were, if anything needed to be fixed or anything. And who was playing Fast Eddie? Bryan?
Yeah, that's right.
And you broke your arm in a car accident or something.
Motorcycle accident.
And Jack said, "We don't have a Fast Eddie, can you go on?" And I said, "When?" And you said, "Today." And so I got into the costume and did the show for the next 4 performances. Terrified, I was understudying at Ford's Theater, so I would go and check in there, and then go to O Street and do the show. And I was terrified I was going to get fired from Godspell for doing this. And
Why weren't you terrified you were going to get fired? Let's keep that quiet. Everybody got $5 a show.
I was an understudy. Anyway, I wasn't an understudy, but after 4 performances, I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm scared to death. And that night, the company manager and Dean Fischer, Jesus from Godspell, because it was a Sunday night, were in the audience at Senior Prom. So.